What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition. But ladies, links, likes, and locks, hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become apprised whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Tuesday, just kind of getting underway here. Hopefully we can get that triple-double. That would make me very, very happy. Heading to the Suns game here in a hot second. Going to be an awesome time, that's for sure. Also an awesome time betting $5, getting $158 in bonus bets if you haven't taken advantage of that at BetMGM already. So go do that. If you're 21 and over, if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But I'm going to talk faster here. People like the faster video. Okay, we can speed things up to a certain extent, but 10-game slate, lots to talk about here, lots to get to, and got a couple of pretty solid plays here. My lock is so unexpected and not something that I saw myself betting anytime soon, but here we are. Producer Jacob, hi. Friend, let's go. Let's get to the picks. Shout out to everybody who thought I looked like Eminem the other day. That was really nice of you. Again, Eminem, I looked like a strong, successful individual who nowadays everybody want to talk. They got something to say, but then it comes out and we don't have time for that. We've got Minnesota. We've got Detroit, friends, and Anthony Edwards is questionable. Again, 11.5. We're talking about the best team in the Western Conference right now. Yeah, that's a weird thing for me to say. Let me say it one more time. The 28-11 Minnesota Timberwolves are the best team in the NBA. Number one in adjusted defensive rating, only 17th in adjusted offensive rating. And that, my friends, is where I have a little bit of a problem pulling the trigger here on this play. It's gotten bet down from 12.5 at open already to 11.5. And I kind of get it because the questionable tag on Anthony Edwards, you're going to need to find a lot of offense. And we've seen it sputter at times when it's only Cat out there alongside Mike Conley. And then, yeah, without Anthony Edwards, you're looking at more minutes for Nickeil Alexander-Walker, more minutes for Jordan McLaughlin. I will remember you. Yeah, we talked Eminem. Now we talk Sarah McLaughlin. There we are. But friends, I don't really have anything for you because Anthony Edwards, big part of this one. If you wanted to take a stab, I'd still think Minnesota minus an 11.5 would have value if Anthony Edwards ends up in. But it's in Detroit. They don't need him to win. It's an uncomfortable spot, one I'm probably going to stay away from just a lean. Next up, we have Hot Atlanta hosting Orlando, and they haven't been so hot here at home, so I guess that's kind of a misnomer, what I just labeled them as. Now, they ended up finding a way to ruin the existence of anybody who took the under of that Wembanyama thing. Again, he had 0 points at halftime, and of course, he still hits his PRA because that's how life works. But again, those are leans. They're the best projected plays at the time. Didn't end up in the premium Discord. Everybody can attest to such things. But we're not going to have that rant that we had yesterday. We're going to have a little conversation about the Orlando Magic showing up here. It is so hard for me to know how I'm supposed to handicap this team without Franz Wagner. It's so annoying. His estimated return is still 3-4 days away. Oh, can we get him back here soon? Because that small forward spot is just so hard for them to fill. They'll go Okiki. Sometimes they'll have Cole Anthony go out there and they'll move Caleb Houston to the 3, and that's not something you want for a lot of minutes. Jonathan Isaac been filling in pretty decently as well, but God, it's such a hard spot here. It's Atlanta on the other side, and Atlanta, as you might be able to tell by the tone of my voice, I'm happier about because Jalen Johnson is that dude. Sadiq Bey in the starting lineup playing a lot, Bogdanovich off the bench, and Okongwu, Capella splitting those minutes. It's just a team that's going to be more capable here than what they've been of late at home. And just to repeat for everybody in the back, they are 7-11 at home this season, one of the worst homestand records. That is for sure. Not that they're good. Other places 9-12 there as well. 16-23 record. But we're going to back them here. Atlanta -3. Paulo Banchero, don't do it to me, son. I know you're really, really good, and you know that I love you, right? Kind of love Jalen Johnson, too. We go from that like play to a lean. San Antonio taking on Boston. The aforementioned Victor Wembanyama. Very, very good at the basketballs here. Going to play 26-ish minutes now. Again, 24-26. Obviously, he closed last time out. They didn't start any of those guys to start off the second half because they were down 30, came all the way back against Atlanta, and a lot of that was Wembanyama finally scoring after a scoreless first half, first of his career, and probably the last of his career, if we're going to be honest, because he's very, very good. Lots of opportunity. He will have it in those 24-ish, 26-ish minutes for sure, but there's massive blowout potential here. They are taking on the Boston Celtics. Her name is Chastity. She is white trash. Wedding Crashers, great movie. Anywho, we are looking at a team on Boston. They are not here to screw around. They are very, very good. And you have Drew Holiday questionable. You have Derek White questionable. You have Kristaps Porzingis questionable. I'm assuming they just saw the other team on the other side, and they're like, we don't need to play everybody. we'll figure out who really wants to play basketball and put up a lot of points in a very short amount of time here. Now, if Drew Holiday ends up out, maybe I can get on this 237.5 pretty quickly. Obviously, his defensive presence, him, Derek White, pretty much everybody defensively are on this Boston team. They are very, very good. They are third in adjusted defensive rating this season. But yeah, I kind of like the potential here for this total to go over in the event that you're able to react to it in real time on who that starting five ends up being. Again, the preferred number at 237.5 would be to get Drew off the floor, because then you're putting a shooter like a Sam Hauser out there and you're just putting exponentially worse defense in play. Now, Drew Holiday is pretty capable offensively when need be, but they don't need him to be. That's kind of the point. I'm not going to bet this more than likely unless you get some weird iteration that I'm able to react to, but over 237.5, it's a lean, friends. This ain't a lean, though. This is Odd Shopper. Friends, right now at Odd Shopper, $14.95 for the weekly, $49.95 for the monthly. It's awesome to come hang out in that Discord. So many sharp people, so many people that are updating me. Sometimes I'll put out a line that is the best available when I bet it, and then immediately it shifts to another book, and somebody's like, hey, plus 200 at FanDuel. That happened with Jokic today. You had plus 190, plus 195 was the prevailing number all day. And all of a sudden, it's plus 200. And I didn't see when that happened. I ended up having a show. But that's the beauty of the Discord, is that there's a ton of other people just like you hanging out there, betting, trying to react and make smart decisions on a daily basis. And I think that, you know, as much utility as I bring to the Discord, as I feel confident in saying that I am somebody who can add some profitability to your life, it's so amazing to have other people out there hanging out who are super, super sharp as well. Not just, you know, the people who are the patrons, but then also other guys like Isaiah Suarez, Ben Raza, everybody you know and love here on the Odd Shopper channel, coming to you with their insider channels. Awesome stuff. $14.95 weekly, and it gets a little better because promo code Lindy, 20% off your first week, LINDY. Get the expert picks, get the Discord, get the premium tools, but mostly $12 a week to have access to me for an entire week to talk through bets, ask me questions, shoot me DMs, whatever you would like, friends. I am there to add utility. Let me help you. Help me help you. But use promo code Lindy when you do 20% off either that first week or that first month. Back to the picks we go. Next up on our boarding walk, Milwaukee, Cleveland, and I do have a play from this one. Super easy, super efficient. Milwaukee's just adding so much damn pace to every single game that they go to. 102.2 possessions per 48 minutes. They are now third in the NBA in pace, tied with San Antonio for what it's worth. They are just behind Indy and Washington, who it feels like all three of those teams play a million times throughout the season. I don't know how, but every sheet, it's like, oh shit, this is another shootout. Here's another shootout. This is an interesting one, though, purely because Cleveland, we know on the other side of this one, isn't going to add nearly as much pace, but 98.3 possessions per 48 minutes. That's not a complete nothing. 24th in the NBA. It's not like bottom three. It's not the Bulls who have really slowed it down here this season. It's not Denver who have really slowed it down this season. There are opportunities for them to do things not in the half court, and Milwaukee kind of forces you into some of those game scripts. So as I work through some of the numbers on this one specifically, 236. It's wild to see this big of a total here, but without Evan Mobley out there, the defense has seriously been lacking on the Cleveland side of the ball. So pretty straightforward for me. Karis LeVert, the only piece of questionability in this one. So I'm pretty comfortable in saying this total, it should be 238, 239 pretty quickly. So bet it now. Over 236, I have a very small play on this one. Don't get carried away, but I think there's a tiny bit of value to squeeze out of it. Houston and the Knicks, we're heading to the Garden, and people like to show out in the Garden. You know who doesn't like to show out here lately? Actually, we'll save that for a second because he's on the Houston side and he's the play from the game. But for anybody who wants to talk through the process of betting, which I enjoy so much more, it's about a market-based approach. It is simply finding the best lines, being able to react to them, and also you have projections from Stochastic to be able to take everything that I know and love and be able to intertwine it and say, okay, this is what I believe is going to happen over a longer sample size. That makes more sense. One thing that has to happen for the New York Knicks here, Jalen Brunson, I would like to see him play basketball. Josh Hart, I would like to see him play basketball. They're both questionable. I'd like to keep it pretty consistent on the Knicks side of things because if you put a Quentin Grimes or a Miles McBride out there, they're not going to be as offensively forward, and they are going to look at playing more defense on the guy that I'm kind of looking to help out, Fred VanVleet, gotta find something here. Now, Julius Randle just got exposed in that play the other day where he didn't hustle down. There were 3 offensive boards going around him. Isaiah Hartenstein's the only guy trying out there defensively. He's shored up a lot of the issues defensively for them, but he can't do it forever. And Jalen Brunson's just never going to be that defensive dude as it is, so kind of lacking, but that helps out when you're the point guard on the other end. Again, negative 0.8 defensive metrics in terms of plus minus is one Jalen Brunson on the season. You go to Quentin Grimes, he's actually a little bit worse, but Miles McBride, he's exponentially worse. Interesting. This is going to work out no matter what is what I'm getting at. So we're going to go to Fred VanVleet over 27.5 PRA. If he ends up out, it actually gets a little bit better, but Josh Hart could end up playing more minutes. There's some ways that they're going to just be out there to try to play some defense. Not that they necessarily can, but Fred VanVleet, he's been ultra disappointing to a certain extent. Obviously, he got paid big time. There's been this emergence of Alperen Sengun, who's one of the more offensively forward centers, but we're talking 27.5 PRA in the Garden in this spot. I have to invest in that. This is a buy low situation. And yeah, there's not a ton of pace that's going to exist in any Knicks game by any means. They're the 4th slowest team in the NBA, but it has more to do with this number at open is low. I'm going to try it. You should try it. A baby little like here as well. Think this makes an interesting card. Let's move on. The Miami Heat taking on the Toronto Raptors up here next. You know by now, I love myself some Emmanuel quickly. There is no doubt that he has been one of those guys that I find to be underprojected just about every single time he ends up out on the floor. Nothing has changed. I don't understand some of these opening numbers, and if I had them right now, which I don't, in this matchup taking on the Miami Heat, I have a feeling I would be trying to take advantage. Now, there have been a couple of changes here to starting lineups. They went to the Thad Young starting lineup. Then they went to Jonte Porter last time out. Hey, Porter. Hey, Porter. Dennis Schroeder sharing the floor a little bit more with Emmanuel quickly. That takes down a little bit in terms of the assist rate, but he's going to play 34, 35 minutes in competitive spots, and it just seems like nobody believes it. When you change a minute or two in terms of projection, it changes drastically what the outlook of a specific player can be. I want to see the opening numbers, which is why the ultra rare, don't think I've ever done it before, lean like lock from Emmanuel quickly. I just want him on your radar constantly in these kind of spots. Obviously, we are happy with him after the lock smash would be over 27.5. He goes through the moon on it. I ended up betting an alternate number on a couple of those as well. There are great opportunities to try to get money off Emmanuel quickly right now. We've recognized it in the marketplace. We've been hammering it. Glad the lock was able to pay off for everybody who tailed there the other night, 2 nights ago it was. Jonte Porter, useful to have him out there because you know who Jonte Porter is not? A high usage guy. And points are going to be the thing you really need to have come along for the ride to a certain extent. Got to get close to where that points projection is going to be in order to allow for your rebounds or assists to really take hold here. So Miami, we know they're slow paced. These numbers are going to jump in lower than what they were last time out, even though I think there is a higher minute ceiling for him going forward. So enjoy. He's had some weird foul trouble in some of these games as well. So we're going to keep hammering him in some capacity. But I repeat, lean with it, like with it, lock with it. Simply my way of saying, pay attention. Check out my X tomorrow because I promise you, I will be updating you on this player as soon as numbers drop. Let's talk a little bit MGM show. Friends, super easy, super quick. Bet $5, get $158 in bonus bets. That's paid out as 3 separate bonus bets, a $50, a $50, and a $58 bonus bet. Check it out. Use the QR code on your screen or sign up at the link below. Only if you're 21 and over, and if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the picks we go. We have 4 games to go. Smash that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, because I don't want to talk about that, and that would be a better use of your time talking through Charlotte and New Orleans. New Orleans, perfectly healthy. You know how I feel about things like that. New Orleans, they were resting guys. They came back and brought guys back out. And then they beat Dallas with their A team. But they beat Dallas with like their B team, C team. You had Jordan Hawkins go berserk. And then you got the guys back and then they lose. And I have no idea how to look at this team right now. They're not serious people. As for Charlotte on the other side, Brandon Miller questionable. Bryce McGowan's questionable. Frank Ntilikina, for those who care about Frankie Smoke still, he's questionable. I'm sure his family does. We care about you, Frank. But either way, Charlotte, this is a disgusting number. Plus 12.5. Somehow, some way, that's projecting out as the best one here. Maybe a prop shows up. Maybe. More than likely going to be an under if I take anything in this one. And I know how people feel about their unders. They still make you money. So check it out. Plus 12.5, just a lean. Dallas taking on the Lakers, minus 2.5, friends. This is just Dallas, Los Angeles. Well, There's one big thing to take note of, and that's that the Los Angeles Lakers, well, they're changing things up and actually playing smart basketball and figuring out how to space things out with Russell and whomever else. And you got Luka Doncic questionable. And I'm able to get the Lakers -2.5 at home here. I get it. Kyrie Irving's been awesome, sublime here in the absence of Luka Doncic, but you kind of want them both on the floor together on the road in Los Angeles, don't you? Kyrie and LeBron, see him hugging it. Center court. If Luka Doncic doesn't play, this is going to move. If Luka Doncic does play, does it move as much? I would argue no. It probably falls into the -1, maybe a pick'em realm, but feels like this has more negative movement going away from Dallas with the absence of Luka than positive getting on it. So it's not even a middle line. We want to go Los Angeles -2.5 for a small play. Get ahead of the news, friends. Continuing on. And we've reached my favorite play so far of the day here on the 10 Gamer. The only lock that exists, well, technically there's two. I'll get to the other part of why. But friends, Golden State taking on Utah in this spot. And Utah has been playing some awesome basketball of late. So much so that they are 4.5, 5.5 point favorites, depending on where you look. Now, why is there a point of volatility there? Well, people do like to bet themselves some Golden State from time to time. I guess it's kind of a buy low team after they screwed up even a -8 ticket the other day, going up against a junkyard Memphis team without Bane. No, Gotham's reckoning. No Morant for the season. Disturbing stuff. But come on now. Steph Curry getting Draymond Green back. This is one of those things that you just have to understand that they have the rapport, that they've played together forever. And this has more to do with possessions within the basketball game and the opportunity for a struggling Golden State team to rely on their number one. Steph has had to do just about everything for this team this season, but should he have a 27.5 points prop in a game that we expect to be moving? 244.5 total, getting Draymond Green, who opens up things a little bit more for him and is such a low usage guy, unless, he's shooting those 2 early threes that he knocked down last time out against Memphis. If you were watching the game. I was watching the game. But anyway, Steph Curry, 27.5 is the opening number. Yeah, Utah, they have a lot of guys that they're rotating between. There's some interesting stuff, but not as interesting as Steph Curry. And it's wild because there is zero injury news information in this one. 0 guys that I'm worried about being on the injury report. Yet I am locking the over for Steph Curry, 27.5 points. Take it to the bank on Wednesday. And last game of the night, Brooklyn, Portland. Portland has Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Malcolm Brogdon, Matisse Thybulle, and Obabaji. They're all questionable. WTF. That's a lock. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. You know what to do. Go to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board here for this lovely Wednesday slate we have before us. 10 games. I'll be back in the home base here very, very shortly. So good stuff there, friends. But I'm going to get the heck up out of here. Until next time, thank you, producer Jacob. I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Wednesday.